This afternoon on the marketplace, Cabinet approves rollout of cylinder recirculation module, which will cut by half the use of charcoal for domestic activities or cooking. Also, the Association of Licensed Buying Companies condemned claims of non-payment of cocoa farmers. There is more as this story, as Joy Business learns, LBCs are currently financially constrained amid the impacts of the coronavirus on their supply chain. We have more after this, of course, coming up later on. Commercial flights will soon resume at Wa Airport following dismantling of telecommunication network masts located on flight path. We have all these stories and more coming up shortly after this break this day. Yeah, welcome to the program. I'm Charles Aite. Let's start with cocoa-related matters because the Association of Licensed Cocoa Buying Companies says claims of non-payment of cocoa farmers are untrue. Addressing the media a while ago, the association claims that over 1 million cocoa farmers have all been settled their claims during the main crop season. Let's hear from the Public Affairs Manager of licensed buying firm Ecom Victor's Jar.
There may be pockets, and I want that to be underlined, pockets of non-payment, which will be very, very insignificant, because so far we have paid almost every farmer that we have bought cocoa from in the main crop season, especially most of the companies. The reason why I said there may be pockets is that we have close to 100 LBCs now registered to buy cocoa. So it will be difficult to speak for the 100 to know that, to be very sure that out of that 100, everybody has paid each farmer they bought cocoa from. But the underlying factor which I want to emphasize is that main crop cocoa, we have paid everybody. We have paid every farmer. So any farmer who claims that his or her main crop cocoa purchase is still outstanding, as have been addressed by the president, should come up. Because we have reporting, very well elaborate reporting lines in our businesses. And it has been stated already. It starts from the farm gate. The farm gate is the farmer who is producing the cocoa. The farmer delivers to PC, or whichever name that is given, the nomenclature. At the society level, the PC pays. He is the main contact person to the farmer. And he is the last person who has to release money to the farmer. If there is non-payment, then it is by our PC. But the PC works for us. There may be issues, maybe that farmer, somebody said already that certain times farmers take loans or what is from their PCs.
Still on this, the president of the association, Francis Ajibin, has revealed that global impact of the coronavirus and global supply chains have badly impacted the financing of LBCs in the country.
Over the years, licensed cocoa buying companies have had to find money on their own to supplement what Cocoa Board grants for purchasing of cocoa. The process has been that LBCs buy cocoa from farmers, deliver at Cocoa Board's designated warehouses at the 3 locations mentioned above for reimbursement. In the course of the season, our members have sometimes experienced delays in payment from Cocoa Board after raising invoices. These delays, Cocoa Board explained as resulting from the following: the negative effects of COVID-19 pandemic on international trade and the external marketing of cocoa, the closure of harbors and its consequent delay in shipments, the substantial drop in the price of cocoa beans on the international market within the year, arising from the adverse effect of COVID-19 pandemic. The closure of many airports, hotels, and confectionery outlets where chocolates and other cocoa products are highly patronized. Ladies and gentlemen, these notwithstanding, members of LICOBAC have paid for cocoa duly received from our farmers. We, however, admit that in some instances, due to the time lag between the receipt of funds after raising or submission of invoice and onward transfer to the district and village levels, there are some delays in monies reaching farmers.
And of course, we shall delve deeper into this issue in a subsequent bulletin, especially when cocoa farmers from the North, South and Central have all attested to the fact that they've not been paid monies from the LBCs. But moving on to another development story, Cabinet has given approval for the rollout of the cylinder recirculation model, which among others will cut by half the use of charcoal for domestic activities or cooking. Initial attempts by the MPA to introduce the model last year was met with protests and strikes by the Association of LPG Marketers. Well, the association cited job losses as the main reason, but at a swearing ceremony for the newly constituted governing board of the cylinder manufacturing company, the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, charged the company to ensure scale-up of production of gas cylinders to meet likely demands with the rolling out of the model. Tussle between the board and management of the cylinder manufacturing company in 2019 led to the dissolution of the board by the finance minister after the disagreement affected the payment of salary to workers. Now, the energy minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, wants the new board to work towards turning the fortunes of the company around. But are there concerns actually by the Association of LPG Marketers following the rollout of this model? Indeed, if there are. Gabriel Kumi is the vice chairman of the association and he joins us via Zoom. Gabriel, we're so grateful that you joined us. Your impression, first of all, about the rollout of the first phase of this initiative?
Thank you very much. I mean, it's a good thing. I think there is a certain misconception that I want to clarify. We have not opposed the policy because of job losses. We don't oppose the policy per se, but our concerns was with the process of rolling out the policy. The process was not transparent enough. There was no clear-cut plan, a transition plan to transition from the current system to the new system. Fortunately, today we had a meeting with the chief executive of MPA. We had a very, very fruitful meeting, and we have laid out our concerns, and he has assured us that our concerns will be taken to the table and will be given due consideration.
So even as, you meet the appropriate authorities for your concerns to be met, what about the rollout of this initiative and outstanding issues that you want addressed?
Yes, as I did indicate, for the past 4 years, we've been trying to implement the policy, but there's nothing on the ground to show. We have wasted a lot of resources and a lot of energy on this policy because we didn't adopt the right approach. And that is what led to the resistance. So this policy is not coming to introduce a new industry. This policy is only trying to adapt a new strategy to an existing industry which has been in the system for the past 24 years. So if you are trying to apply a new strategy to it, all that you need to do is to be patient. But initially we saw it as a greenfield where maybe we thought LPG has not been sold in Ghana before, so let's go ahead and introduce cylinder recirculation. It has to be introduced in a very, very gradual manner. The two systems will have to run side by side before you can eventually fade out one. I mean, that is what happens at any introduction of any new policy where there is an existing system. But that was not done. Everything was being rushed through since 2017 till now. There's nothing on the ground, even though we've wasted a lot of resources and a lot of energy trying to introduce this project. But fortunately, Mustafa Hamid seems to be adopting the right approach toward the policy. And as I did indicate, we had a very, very, very fruitful meeting with him today. And from the indication that is coming up, he is likely to succeed in his attempt to introduce this policy.
Of course, we've had discussions with you regarding not just the rollout, but the penetration of LPG consumption across the country. Now, thankfully, this new policy, according to the Energy Minister, is to cut by half, the entire consumption of charcoal as a means of, cooking across the country. I mean, even as we're cutting this by half, what safety measures do you think should be employed to ensure that we do not record emergencies moving forward?
Right. I don't know how the Energy Minister came by those projections, but one thing I can say for sure is that yes, we are likely to. The president has set an objective to increase consumption of LPG from the current 25% penetration level to 50% by the year 2030. But one factor that is going to hinder seriously against, that is going to be an impediment to that projection, is the price of LPG. Currently, the price of LPG, a kilo of LPG is being sold at 7.20 to 7.30 Ghana cedis. That culminates into about 110 Ghana cedis for the average household cylinder. At the end of the day, you need consumption to support all these projections. And the LPG is a product with an elastic demand. The only way you can increase consumption, the only way you can engender growth is to bring down prices, so that the ordinary Ghanaian, you can expand the consumption net so that the ordinary Ghanaian can use the product. So we can keep the vision of trying to increase penetration from the current 25% to 50%. But we see the price of the product as a major obstacle. If government does not do anything about the price of the products on the market, it's impossible to achieve any set target. And that is why for the past 3 years, we have called on government. We've been knocking on the doors of government to consider removing about a 22% taxes on LPG. This is a product we used to subsidize way back. We went to full cost recovery and we've put as much as 20% tax on the product. This is the product being subsidized by other countries in our sub-region and other countries in Africa. Subsidized, they are subsidized, isn't it? So when you go to Ivory Coast here, Burkina Faso, Mali, they are all subsidizing the product. They are not even, they've moved even downwards from full cost recovery to subsidy. But we have put as much as 20% tax on the product. That is how for the past 3 years, LPG consumption in Ghana have been stagnating. If we don't do anything about the taxes on LPG, there is no way Mr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh's projection can come to pass. And there's no way the president's vision of increasing access and penetration of LPG from 25% to 50% by the year 2030 will be achieved. This target was set about 3 years ago. But for the past 3 years, we've been stagnating. The consumption of LPG has been hovering around 28,000 metric tons a month. And we've been stagnating for the past 3 years. We are not even growing at par with population growth. So yes, the projections are good. Rise in consumption of LPG can help Ghana a lot. It can save our environment. It can save our river bodies. It can protect us as Ghanaians. But that will have to go with a consensuous effort to bring down the price of LPG.
Well, thankfully, we should be having the finance minister tomorrow in the mid-year budget estimates. And out of that, there's so much expectations from various quarters of the business ladder when it comes to tax rebates, review of specific spending expenditure and so much and so on. From your perspective, with regards to the LPG consumption in the country, what line do you want the finance minister to toe if he is to touch on your sector specific?
We expect nothing but the finance minister should come out and tell Ghanaians that all taxes on the LPG have been removed. Yes, we believe we need the taxes to develop our country. We believe that the benefit this country is likely to gain from pushing up consumption of LPG from the current 25% penetration level to 50% penetration level will far more outweigh the benefit we are gaining from these taxes. We have presented a lot of papers to the Finance Ministry and to the Energy Ministry on these taxes. And at tomorrow's review, we are expecting that the finance minister will finally come tell us that taxes on LPG has been removed, and that will help achieve the president's vision for the sector. Because you cannot eat your cake and have it. You cannot expect to achieve growth in a consumable product like LPG, a mass product like LPG. At the same time, you keep pushing taxes on the product. The two can never be achieved. Either we keep the taxes and degrow, or bring down consumption, or we remove the taxes and grow consumption of LPG.
Gabriel, your point well noted. We're so grateful that you joined us, and you're still watching The Marketplace here on Joy News with me, Charles Aite. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back to stay. You're welcome back. Now, for the country to realize maximum economic gains in forex trading, there is a need for an enhanced regulatory framework that will strategically streamline activities of digital transformation and innovation. And this coming from an expert in this field, Dr. Miles Christian Hagan, who has, who made these remarks in his interaction with the media at the launch of the Elevate Ghana Forex Project, an initiative targeted at educating youth and women in forex trading and financial literacy. According to him, forex trading and cryptocurrency all over the world have great potential to contribute to the economy and have gained momentum in recent times with huge market value.
So in terms of even regulation, we have the Payment Systems and Services Act. All that was developed to make sure there's some clear guideline on how you execute things within the payment systems industry. So I'll say BOG has come to a point where they know what is happening. They're also supporting fully. And this is the capacity we need to move Ghana forward.
Okay, so within the forex space, we don't need new law. We only need regulations.
So it's more of a regulatory enhancement. Okay. So there are certain new things that have been learned, certain risks that have been identified. So it is just to top up and then try and then clear the area where there are gray areas, where there are certain concerns. They come out with a one-pager guideline to try and then clarify. In instances of this, do it this way. And I believe that will be the right step.
There are also misconceptions that this business is very risky and the states won't be able to, let's say, tax transactions in there. What do you say about that?
I think the ECD is going to be the best way to at least have a view of how this space can be regulated. So once the BOG pushes it, most of those who will be doing it will be the traders, so people with some level of experience. And it's just going to be about knowledge sharing. So you will have an instance where BOG can, and they even have a sandbox where most of these things can be pilot tested, run for a short time before it's moved into live. No, I think it's all around capacity building. And when you listen to what Sika and team have done, it took time. So it's not about those who don't have any skill, but it's about getting people to build a certain skill set. So what happens is through the engagements with those who are joined this group, they are now going to understand certain things, and it's something you do over time. Now, when it comes to risk, what makes people learn a lot is everything a step at a time. So people who have been in for possibly 1 year, 3 years, are going to train those who do it for 1 month, get them to understand the risk. Possibly after 6 months, you'll be more confident. And realize the last testifier indicated that even after the first training, he was confused, which is normal. So it's not going to be about pushing them out and say, go and do it. Build their capacity, support them, get to a point that they have full confidence, and then at that point they can continue.
Well, the Elevate Ghana Forex Project is the first ever forex project initiative in the country with the aim to decipher the myth about the forex market and digital finance sector as a whole, bringing to bear the enormous career and financial opportunities the sector bestows. Let's listen to Gipti Anosika, the founder of the project.
I train them on basically financial analysis. Okay. We do beyond forex. Forex is basically currency. We have a lot of stuff on the financial market. We have metals. We have people that trade only oil. We have people that trade gold. We have people that trade currencies. We have people that even trade metals. You get what I'm saying? So if you get the skill, you have the ability to leverage. You decide, and you can decide to trade gold today. Tomorrow you can decide to trade currencies, and the set skill is transferable. They are not going to be beneficiaries, they are going to be participants, but we are willing to fund them with a life account. We are willing to fund them with a life account that with a mentorship package of about 6 months that we will help them to build upon. So in 6 months with $50, we are hoping for them to be able to do up to $2,000 with the $50, for them to know that it really works when you have a process, when you have a trading plan. Somebody can go into the forex trading platform today and gamble and get double his money. It doesn't make him a forex trader, it makes him a gambler. There's a process, there's a systematic skill. It's like going to the school to get a medical certificate. The same way, yeah, people use 6 to 2 years to get a skill, depending on who your mentor is. Yeah.
Well, away from that, the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh, has revealed that commercial flights will soon resume at the Wa Airport following the dismantling of a couple of days ago. The Vodafone master was located on the flight path. Though he failed to give timelines, he stated that many airlines have expressed interest in the Wa-Accra route, and he was well convinced that it wouldn't be long. Now, the halting of commercial flights at the Wa Airport in March 2020 has impacted negatively on the economic fortunes of the people. JoyNews Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
One of the challenges that came to the attention of Transport Minister Kuku Ofori-Asiema during his one-day official tour of the Wa Airport a couple of months ago was the sighting of this Vodafone telecommunication mast, which flight operator says was directly located on the path of the flight. As a result of that, pilots flying into or out of the airport go through arduous times to meander their way in or out of the airport. Africa World Airlines started commercial operations at the airport in October 2019 following its renovation and later halted in March 2020.
The planes will come. We are not going to allow the mast to be a standing block on our way. The planes must come and they will come. The only condition is that that mast must be out of the flying path. And we are giving them the opportunity. If they don't do so, I think it's our response, like I said, to remove it ourselves.
Our cameras some few weeks ago spotted riggers on top of the mast, busily attempting to dismantle it. We however returned to the site today and found no mast. Only few ancillary equipment could be spotted on. It is not only the Vodafone telecommunication mast that is lying on the flight path. Closer to the airport and about 80 meters away from it, there are several tree species that are also lying on the flight path. Per the instruction of the minister, those trees, numbering about 6, were pulled down. Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Saleh stated that with the dismantling of the mast, he has quickly formally written to all the major stakeholders and is hopeful that commercial flights will soon resume operations at the Wa Airport.
Written to the minister, I have copied the Ghana Airport Company as well as Africa World Airlines because they were operating from the Wa Airport. So I've written to them as well. As to when they will start, I will not be able to tell. Once we write to them and I get in contact with them, then I'll be able to tell when they will resume. But I believe strongly that it will be sooner than later because they are also determined to start operations. You realize that when the Minister for Transport came here, he indicated that indeed the management of Africa World told him that the Wa route was one of their lucrative routes. So they are business people. They will want to start operations so that they can make money.
Though the commercial flights are yet to resume operations, Dr. Bin Saleh is already talking about the benefit that the people of the region will derive from it.
The Upper West has been chosen as the venue for the next Northern Ghana Development Summit. And with the summit, we intend inviting top government officials as well as foreign envoys, ambassadors of different countries that are in the country for them to attend. most of them would want to come by air. So if commercial flights become operational, if they start coming to the Upper West, it will make it much more easier for us to organize these sort of things. So it's the beginning of good things to happen. So I am eager for the restart of operation.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow.
And for more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com/business, where you could get all the trending business stories making the headlines today. As you can see, our leading story, play by the rules or lose your licenses. That's from Dr. Abdul Hamid to the OMCs. Also, the story from the Speaker of Parliament committing to the preservation of Ghana's retail space. We have more on these stories as well. If you could check those out yourself on myjoyonline.com/business. I'm Charles Aite. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs.